Leo stood before the crystalline enclosure, watching the draconians circle overhead with their iridescent wings, catching the artificial sunlight of the orbital station. His hands trembled slightly as he gripped the feeding cart. One job. He'd been given one simple job on the most important diplomatic mission in human history, and somehow, he'd managed to screw it up spectacularly. "They're getting restless," Anna said, appearing beside him with her data pad. Her role as xenobiologist made her the closest thing to an expert humanity had on these magnificent creatures. "The Draconian delegation will be here in 10 minutes for the feeding ceremony." "I know," Leo muttered, staring at the empty containment units where the protein synthesizers should have been churning out the prescribed nutrition blocks. The machines had died overnight, victims of an incompatible power surge that no one had anticipated. The Draconians were particular about their food, ritualistically so. Serving them anything other than precisely calibrated nutrition could be interpreted as an insult. And insults, in Draconian culture, meant the end of trade negotiations, the end of Earth's chance to join the galactic consortium. "So what's your plan?" Anna asked, though her tone suggested she already knew he didn't have one. Leo pulled back the thermal cover on his cart, revealing what he'd spent the last 3 hours preparing. Anna's eyes widened. Is that actual food?" "Spaghetti carbonara," Leo said quietly. "With real eggs, real bacon, real parmesan. I raided the crew's personal food stores." Anna grabbed his arm. "Leo, you can't serve them cooked food. Their digestive systems are designed for raw protein matrices. This could poison them." "Or," Leo countered, meeting her gaze, "it could be the most interesting thing they've tasted in their lives." Before Anna could argue further, the doors hissed open. Commander Sarthex entered, his scales shimmering deep purple, a color Leo had learned meant cautious optimism. Behind him came 3 other Draconians, their wings folded elegantly against their backs, their reptilian eyes fixed on Leo with unsettling intensity. "Human Leo," Sarthex's voice resonated like distant thunder. "The feeding hour has arrived. My kin and I are eager to experience your world's hospitality." Leo bowed, the gesture feeling inadequate compared to the Draconians' elaborate greeting displays. "Commander, I must confess something before we begin." The purple in Sarthex's scales darkened. Anna tensed beside him. "Our protein synthesizers failed during the night cycle," Leo continued. "Standard protocol would have me request postponement of this ceremony, but I've learned that Draconians value bold action over careful retreat." A ripple of amber passed through Sarthex's scales. Amusement, Leo hoped. "So, instead," Leo said, wheeling the cart forward, "I've prepared something from my own world, something we humans create not for nutrition alone, but for pleasure, for art, for the simple joy of taste." He removed the covers completely. Steam rose from the plates, carrying the rich aroma of garlic, cheese, and rendered pork fat. The Draconians leaned forward as one, their nostrils flaring. "You offer us processed organic matter?" one of the other Draconians asked, her scales flickering with confusion. "Heat-altered proteins?" "We call it cooking," Leo explained. "It's one of the oldest human arts. We don't just consume for survival, we transform raw ingredients into experiences." Sarthex approached the cart slowly. "And you believe this experience is suitable for Draconian physiology?" "Honestly," Leo said, "I have no idea. But I know that every species in the consortium eats their nutrition blocks. Efficient, perfectly balanced, and utterly boring. I thought maybe, just maybe, you'd like to try something different. Something that shows who we are as a species." The silence stretched. Anna barely breathed. Then Sarthex did something Leo had never seen a Draconian do. He laughed, a deep, rumbling sound that made the enclosure's glass vibrate. "In 300 cycles of diplomatic service," Sarthex said, "I have been offered nutrition blocks by every species imaginable. Each one carefully researched, perfectly calibrated, completely forgettable." He reached out with his clawed hand, took one of the plates, and lifted it to his snout. "But never has anyone offered me something they themselves treasure. Something made with what you humans call passion." He took a bite, using the fork with surprising dexterity. His scales rippled through a spectrum of colors Leo couldn't interpret. The other Draconians watched intently. Finally, Sarthex's scales settled into a brilliant gold. "It burns," he said. "The heat damages the protein structure in ways that should be inefficient. The salt content is unnecessarily high. The fat ratio is absurd by any nutritional standard." Leo's heart sank. "And yet," Sarthex continued, his scales brightening further, "it is extraordinary. This bacon substance, the preservation process creates flavor compounds my taste receptors have never encountered. The cheese provides a texture that nutrition blocks cannot replicate. And somehow, impossibly, all these imperfect elements combine into something that transcends mere sustenance." The other Draconians moved forward, taking their plates with eager movements. Within moments, the sounds of enthusiastic eating filled the enclosure, another first in Leo's experience with the normally dignified creatures. "You understand what you've done?" Anna whispered to Leo. "You've just introduced an entire species to cuisine." Sarthex approached Leo again, his plate nearly empty. "Human Leo, you were given one job: feed the dragons. And you have done precisely that, though not in any way we expected. You have fed us not just nutrition, but culture, not just sustenance, but art, not just food, but a glimpse into what makes your species unique." He placed a clawed hand on Leo's shoulder, a gesture Leo knew was significant in Draconian body language. "The consortium has 23 species, all perfectly adapted to their ecological niches, all perfectly optimized for efficiency. And then there are humans, who waste energy transforming perfectly adequate raw materials into something beautiful simply because you can, simply because it brings you joy." Sarthex's scales rippled with colors Leo had never seen before. "That," the commander said, "is exactly the kind of strange, inefficient, wonderful insanity the consortium needs. Welcome to the stars, Leo of Earth, and please teach us more of this cooking." As the Draconians departed, already arguing animatedly about the flavor profiles they'd experienced, Anna turned to Leo with an expression caught between disbelief and admiration. "You had one job," she said. Leo grinned. "Yeah, feed the dragons. Turns out I'm pretty good at it." Outside the viewport, Earth hung in the darkness, a small blue world that had just earned its place among the stars, one plate of pasta at a time.